I want you to imagine a scale. At one end of the scale, you have 0. And at the other end of the scale, you have 10. If we're thinking about like bore out or under challenged burnout, clients tend to sit in the 0 to 3 category. And this is where there's not enough to motivate them. There's not enough to get them out of bed in the morning. Now, lots and lots of coaches, and there are 3 times a year, right, in the lead up to summer, after the kind of summer holidays, as we come into the last quarter of the year, and then as we start a new calendar year, 3 times a year, lots of coaches start promoting how everybody wants to be stress-free, right? Have a stress-free new year, have a stress-free Christmas, have a stress-free final quarter of the year, have a stress-free summer. We don't want to be stress-free. We don't want to be in that 0 to 3 category. We need stress. We might not be calling it stress. We might be calling it drive or passion or ambition or adrenaline, but we all need something to get us out of bed in the morning. And 0 to 3 on that scale, in the kind of bore out or under challenged burnout area, is not where we want to be. We then come to kind of 4 to 7 on the scale, right? And this is where we would typically think about normal stress levels, right? So clients are at 4, they've got big projects, they've got big meeting, they've got enough kind of passion and drive and ambition to keep them going. They might have a big project, they might come up to kind of 7, maybe 8, and then they can very quickly come back down to kind of 4 again on that scale. And they'll, depending on the project, depending on the workload, they'll be kind of moving quite happily, quite seamlessly between 4, 7, maybe even 8 on that scale, but they'll come back down to 4 quite quickly. And then if we think about the scale, kind of 8, 9, 10 is where clients start to move into chronic stress levels. And if you've trained with me, if you've attended any of my masterclasses or workshops, you'll know that when we talk about burnout, I'm talking about burnout as what happens when we fall off the end of this 10-point scale. But lots of clients at the moment, and this is what I want to talk to you about in this video, lots of clients at the moment are in this area of 8, 9, 10 on the stress scale, constantly in this kind of habitual burnout cycle, living like they've just got to keep on going, like everything feels like a fight, everything feels like survival. So they're in 8, 9, and 10, and somehow it's become their normal. So that's what I want to talk to you about in this video. How even when your clients are telling you that they're fine, they could have created themselves a new normal, which is this 8, 9, and 10 on the scale. And I want to give you a couple of questions to help them understand what it's going to take to help to break that cycle. Okay, so let's get going with this, right? So as we said, 0 to 3, bore out, under challenge, burnout. We don't really want to be in 0 to 3, even though if we're in kind of 7, 8, 9, we might think that stress-free sounds absolutely amazing, right? And that's a place where we want our clients to get to. We don't. We want healthy, sustainable levels of stress and drive and adrenaline and passion to get us out of bed in the morning. If we're in that constant 0 to 3, there is no spark. There's nothing to get us out of bed in the morning. There's no reason to get out of bed. There's no reason to get ourselves to work. And, you know, again, if we think about it, if we've got like, I don't know, we're running a race, right? We wouldn't even start the race, let alone cross the finish line, if we were constantly in that 0 to 3. So we do not want to be there. But again, for some people, 0 to 3 has become a norm. It's become a way of being. They don't want to get out of bed. They can't drag themselves out of bed in the morning. There isn't enough to motivate them. There's not enough to keep them going. But the longer that they stay there, the more that becomes their normal. Typical normal stress sits within 4 to 7. So again, as we said, we might go from 4 to 7, maybe 8, depending on the project, depending on life, depending on what it is that we've got going on. But we can move through those pretty seamlessly. But the longer that we stay, the longer our clients stay in 8, 9, 10, where everything feels like it's firefighting, where everything feels like a constant fight for survival, where everything is like basically stressing them out, right? From the minute they wake up in the morning to the minute they go to bed, everything is drama or chaos or it's urgent. Everything feels like they're firefighting. Their alarm goes off in the morning. It feels like they're firefighting. Maybe they've got kids or caring responsibilities, and trying to get out of the house in the morning feels like a constant fight. Everything feels like a struggle. Everything is feeling hard. Everything is feeling difficult. They put on clothes. Maybe there's a stain on it, right? Maybe there's a rip. Maybe there's a tear. Maybe, I don't know, odd shoes get put on. Then there's constant traffic. They're finding themselves stuck in traffic, and there's constant traffic or train issues or delays or something that's going on. So by the time they even get to the office, or maybe also working from home, but by the time they start work, they are already in survival mode. The next email, the next meeting, everything becomes a constant rush and a constant fight. And it's the longevity, the period of time that they spend in that creates them a new normal. They think that this is just what they need to be doing to survive at the level that they're working at. They think this is just what they need to keep doing to continue the pace. This is what they've got to do because they've got to keep going this way, to juggle all of the responsibilities and spin all of the plates and just keep going in order to survive every single day. And I see lots of coaches that miss those signs in people. They miss the signs that it's this that's become the new normal, not this that's become the new normal. If your clients don't have the ability to move across the scale fluidly, and they don't have the ability to really use all of that capacity, right? There might be moments in time, if we're in that normal stress scale of 4 to 7, there might be moments in time where they do need to come up to a 10. There's a huge project, there's a huge deadline, there's something that might impact them or their family, right? Sometimes it's like an emergency. We see videos of like parents, right, with superhuman strength that have managed to pick a car up from a child that's been caught underneath, right? That's a 10 on that scale. And then they come back down the scale and they come back into a normal level. But for a lot of clients that are on the brink of burnout, their normal is this. They don't have this much capacity. They have this much capacity. Their capacity has shrunk. And as you're giving them goals, you're goal setting, you're talking about ambition and career growth and momentum and everything that they want to do to be moving forward. You're talking about the next salary increase. You're talking about the next role. Maybe they're applying for a new role. You're talking about interview processes or how to improve their performance. They're only able to operate from that 8, 9, 10 on the scale. There's no capacity to think creatively or innovate. And the longer that we spend, the longer that clients spend in this 8, 9, 10, the less time they're able to spend in their intellectual brain. And it's in the intellectual brain where we are creative and positive and innovative. It's where we can come up with solutions and answers. So if we find that if our clients are telling us that they keep going round in circles, they keep making the same mistake over again, they keep ending up in the same situations or the same cycles, or the same thing keeps just happening over and over and over again, and they end up in session, I don't know, I can't understand why I'm here again. Their capacity has shrunk basically from 0 to 10 on their scale, and it's all squeezed now into 8, 9, 10. That has become their new normal. And in order to get clients to start to break that cycle, right, 8, 9, 10, if they're in there constantly, they're in this habitual burnout cycle. Their capacity for growth, their capacity for normal stress, their capacity to feel calm and well, their capacity to think and have breathing space and thinking space has vanished. Because in 8, 9, 10 on the scale, everything is urgent. Everything needs doing now. Everything is vital. Everything is a fight for survival. Everything is important. So if you're finding in sessions that your clients are struggling to prioritize, it's because in 8, 9, 10, everything feels like a fight for survival. There is no let's just think of one priority. And we've seen this constantly in leadership and management teams, definitely over the last 6 years, right, since we were in 2020. Everything has become a priority in business because more and more people have lost their full capacity to deal with and manage stress effectively. We cannot be creative or innovative. We cannot be positive or solution focused when we're cramming everything into 8, 9, and 10 on that scale. And it's highly likely that if your clients are struggling to prioritize, they're struggling to think positively, they're struggling to find a way out, they continue to keep going round and round in circles, they are stuck in this 8, 9, 10, and that has become their new normal. So as their coach, you need to find ways to help them to break that cycle, right? But it's not really about new boundaries, new routines, new priorities. It's not about delegating. It's not about new goals. It's not about hacking whatever it is that they need to hack, or habit stacking, or any of that kind of stuff. You need to get your clients into a space where they begin to feel safe again, where they begin to feel safe in their body, where they be able to feel safe in their brain. They're able to feel safe in making a decision. And we start that by asking, when was the last time you felt safe? It's as simple as that, right? When was the last time you felt safe? When was the last time you felt you had breathing space? When was the last time you had time or space to think? Those 3 questions, when answered in the right way, and again, not when your client is whirling around and not able to think and they just want to keep moving, but if you can get your client into a grounded space, then those 3 questions could be absolute game changers for them. Now, if you do not know how to spot the signs of burnout, I'm going to pop a link in the description below. In 3 minutes, you will know if you are equipped to be able to spot the signs of burnout. And most coaches do miss it. Most coaches assume that this 8, 9, 10 is just clients that are like brilliant at high performing, right? High performing, high achievers. Let's just continue to get stuff done. And a lot of coaches are focused on those 8, 9, 10s and just seeing them as constant high performers, right? The people that can just get out there and get shit done. And yet they cannot be creative or innovative or positive or solution focused when they're constantly in that 8, 9, 10. We need some of the calm. We need some of the slower space. Your clients will need time to think and time to breathe. Your clients will need to feel safe in order for them to create the thinking space and the breathing space to allow them to make the best decisions for them, for their lives, for their careers, for their work. So if you're only looking at the 8, 9, 10 and your clients are like, this is just how I've been, I've always been like this, right? If you're seeing the manicness, if you're seeing the busyness, if you're constantly just seeing that goal setting, you need to try and expand the scale in which your clients can work. So I'll pop the link for that assessment below. If you have liked this video, give it a like and a subscribe, and I will see you again next time.